What's up, guys? I am back to bring you your recap on Married to Medicine Season 6, Episode 17, the reunion part 2. And this recap is on time, my God. Now, they gave us 2 weeks off, my God, I guess because of New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and then Christmas, my God. But we jumped back in where Mariah and Quad were going back and forth about Quad having slept with Mariah's sister's husband, my God. And then Aiden walked out like he was about to do something, my God, and check somebody. And I will say, what was the reason that Dr. Aiden's ass was trying to come out there and flaunt his stuff or puff his chest up when there was an argument between two women, which was Quad, who doesn't have a husband anymore, my God, and then his wife? I feel like Dr. Aiden is such a bitch, no shade, my God. But Dr. Heavenly called it and had Quad's back and said, somebody needs to get Dr. Aiden because he is coming out here because of Quad, and that is not right. They took their break, they went behind the scenes. It was so interesting because people were saying certain things on one side, the other side was saying other things. The thing that caught my attention was Toya's ass saying that, oh, Heavenly and Quad just trying to gang up on Mariah. No, bitch. Your ass just ganged up on Contessa with Dr. Simone. Y'all going back and forth on one side of the couch when Dr. Simone's ass didn't even have no real beef with Contessa. So I'm just over it. They just don't own shit, my God, especially that Toya's ass. But Aiden was just doing the most behind the scenes, saying, I paid her car. No, I did this, I did that. Your wife is still an asshole. I like Mariah, I like Quad. They both got drama, they both got issues, they both got mouth, they both, throw shade, my God. So I hate that Aiden acts as if his wife is an angel and she is not, my God. I don't care if you pay Quad's bills or not. Your wife is still not the nicest person, my God. Then when everybody came to sit back down, my God, you had Dr. Simone's ass justifying Mariah breaking the glass at the table because clearly it was to threaten Dr. Heavenly. And Simone is just like, no, she wasn't really going to do anything. She was just pushed and pressed, but wasn't going to really do anything with the glass. She did it for a reason, my God. She was ready. She was sitting on ready. And I hate that Dr. Simone can't be unbiased enough just to call her out. I feel like Dr. Simone done been through some shit, and I think that Mariah, Dr. Heavenly asked Dr. Simone, has Mariah lied on her before? And I believe she has, or they had some issues in the past. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I just could not take seeing Dr. Simone justify, of all people, Mariah breaking the glass at the table, my God. Then you had, after this back and forth of, I don't respect you, you're nobody, I respect Contessa more than you, and because she is respected and a doctor in the community and so on and so forth, then Dr. Heavenly and Mariah wrapped it up and said they were going to call it a truce, I guess, for the sake of their husbands because it was going too far because of the husbands being dragged into it. Then the question was asked of Andy, who is the shadiest person? I think I would choose Mariah and then maybe Dr. Heavenly, but then it bounces from person to person on this show because they're all shady. I will say the silent killer is Dr. Jackie, my God, because she does throw a certain kind of a shade that she acts as if it's nice, but it's really nice, nasty, my God. And that nice, nasty shade is one that will take you out. And even Dr. Heavenly said, no, I think Dr. Jackie is the one because you gotta have a certain level of an IQ to catch her shade, my God. And I feel like she was shading Toya because a lot of times, Dr. Jackie's shade does go over Toya's head because Toya is usually sitting on ready, but she never really comes for Dr. Jackie when the shade is thrown from her, my God. But she'll get upset and be bothered by the lack of stuff that Contessa isn't even doing, my God. Next, there was a little moment behind the scenes that we saw with the fellas, the doctors and the husbands, who were having a conversation with Dr. Greg because he showed up, and Dr. Greg said that he showed up to defend himself and hopefully the truth will come out and he just wants peace. And then he justified, this is how you know that there is issues. Then he said, well, I only went to a hotel because I had a grudge and she wouldn't give me a family. And granted, I do understand acting out in a marriage when someone is withholding something from you and you really want it and you're trying to be the best of husbands or wife. But I'm not sure that Dr. Greg was the best of husbands based on his behavior that we've seen even in front of his friends at the marital focus group. So I don't think Dr. Greg was providing a great atmosphere for Quad to want to have a baby because he seemed like a total asshole. And I know that we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, baby, but psychiatrists, psychologists, and life coaches and those kinds of people, my God, those are usually the worst ones because they're able to critique you and get you together, but they can't get themselves together, my God. So it threw me off that he, before even approaching Quad to sit down with her, his first thing was justifying his wrong, opposed to just owning his wrong. Next, the question was brought up from Andy, I believe, asking Quad how did she feel and why did her marriage turn out one way versus Dr. Simone, because both of their marital issues were pretty much exposed last season and or at the reunion, my God. And it brought Dr. Simone and Cecil together, but Quad and Dr. Greg are divorcing. And she did say that she felt like the ladies did not rally around her the way they did Dr. Simone. I agree. They were like standing in the gap, my God, and praying, my God, and holding up Dr. Simone and Cecil, but didn't really give a damn about Quad and Dr. Greg. And I feel like it was because the ladies felt like or already prejudged the situation thinking that it was Quad and not Dr. Greg. But Dr. Jackie spoke up and said, I didn't do it because I feel like it was a toxic situation. She said she did not feel like Dr. Greg was owning what he did, and he also was not giving Quad the respect that she deserved. So she was not going to rally and support something that was toxic. And I respect Dr. Jackie for being honest and saying that even Quad said, you know what, you are spot on and that is right. And my thing is, it is so wrong because people will try to save a marriage because they want people to stay together. But some shit is just toxic, my God, and it has to end. Then, of course, they had to rehash Quad not telling them her business, but they tell her her business. There was different opinions versus Dr. Simone and Quad with sharing and not sharing, and she shared her things. Toya said she tells her friends everything. But I mean, I think that's a case-by-case situation. Everybody does not want to tell every single thing about their business. And it was funny because during the season, it was Dr. Simone who was the most aggressive towards Quad, saying, you know, catch us up, Quad, which I agree. I said as well during this season, just as Quad said in this reunion, it wasn't a warm atmosphere for her to open up and share. And I hate that Toya and Dr. Simone asked a lot at this reunion saying, oh, we just wanted to know what was going on with you. Y'all asses were waiting to find out what was going on with the marriage and the divorce and the separation and her moving out, not what was going on with just her and work, my God. Y'all asses lied because if it was just about that, you wouldn't have been that pissed off and that negative with your energy, Dr. Simone. Then the topic came up as to why Dr. Simone said in that one particular scene, this little girl thinks she's better than us. And it did throw me off because I was thinking, one, she's a grown-ass woman, and why would you address her as a little girl amongst all these other women? And then she's going through a divorce, but now it made a tad bit of sense, my God, because we found out, and Quad even got tongue-tied and couldn't get her words or lie together when it was asked of her, did she go around saying she was the star of the show? And I think Andy was the one who said, do you feel like you're the star of the show? And she couldn't really answer, but she flipped the script and said, well, I never said it ever again once I heard that you guys were saying she said that. But I mean, it makes sense. I would be offended too if this bitch was going around saying she was the star of the show. But at this point, I mean, this season, Quad is kind of the star of the show because she's having the most drama at this point. But I'm trying to think, in the past, in all of these seasons, is Quad the star? No, I feel like they all have brought something to the table. So I wouldn't say there is one star of this show. There is no Nene of Married to Medicine, my God. There just isn't. There isn't even a Kenya of Married to Medicine. So I can't really say that Quad or anybody else for that matter is a star of the show. I know Mariah probably would like to believe she's the star, but she isn't either, my God. So yeah, there's no star of the show. Then it jumped back to Toya, my God, asking if Toya felt like that Greg acted out because Quad wasn't giving him children. And her ass said, she said yes, because men aren't as committed as women are to a relationship, my God, and men are gonna be men. And I'm thinking, girl, what? Everybody gagged, but I will say it did make sense when Andy put it in different word usage. Andy said, I understand because men, we definitely do follow our dicks. And women are more emotionally attached to situations versus men being able to follow their dick and not really caring. So it makes sense, but I think that Toya just didn't explain her point right. But it was throwing me off for her to say that, you know, women, yes, we're about family and kids and getting our home together. No, there are some men, my God, even heterosexual men who are about family and their wives and loving them. So Toya was making the excuse, but then not making an excuse and saying she wasn't making an excuse, but she was making an excuse. This is why it's hard to be Toya's friend, my God, because she won't have a solid opinion, my God, and just stick with it. She's always all over the place, my God. Next, let's address the whole Quad isn't welcome to a couple trip because she's single. Now, I understand it from the standpoint of not inviting a random friend or female to come out to the couple's trips or couples events. But Quad made perfect sense. Dr. Heavenly made perfect sense. I think everybody else felt like they wanted Quad there except for Toya, and everyone's point was, it's the same Quad, and Quad said, my mental capacity has not changed. I don't want your man. So why is it okay for Quad to be there having a man, but that same Quad can't be there, be present and learn and be a part of the couple's activities because she has already been there? And the thing about it is, it's not as if she is a single, previously married woman. She would be a divorced woman who still has something to bring to you guys, as well as you being able to impart into her for her next marriage or relationship, my God. So I don't know why Toya is going so hard with this, because I don't think Quad wants her man. And Toya made the point to say, you know, I don't want you around my man. I don't want her to be friends with my man. And girl, then through that, Dr. Heavenly said, would you want a woman to be friends with your man? And ain't no woman friends with your man, my God, with Dr. Daddy. But the reality of it is, Quad has always been here. If she wanted your man, she could have tried to take him or do something long ago, because she was already having problems with her marriage to begin with, my God. And even Dr. Jackie said that she showed up previous seasons when Curtis didn't show up as a kind of a single woman to events. So she feels like Quad should be allowed to show up as well. Now, I do get the gray area because Dr. Jackie wasn't officially divorced, nor really even headed for divorce. She was in limbo because she hadn't made a decision, my God. But Dr. Jackie said, even if I had been divorced, I would have still shown up to the couple's trip. Next, there was a moment with the guys. Then you had the conversation between Dr. Aiden and Dr. Daddy, and Dr. Daddy said he has put out positive energy and he does believe in reaping what you've sown, and he feels like he didn't put out anything bad to reap backlash or shade or being dragged into the women's beef due to Mariah claiming that Dr. Daddy has cheated on Dr. Heavenly. And I think it was wasn't a doctor, or was it Cecil? I think it was Cecil, or someone said they don't believe that Dr. Daddy has cheated on Dr. Heavenly at all, my God. But what blew me away was Dr. Aiden trying to justify. 1 minute Dr. Aiden doesn't want people to talk about his mother-in-law and drag his family and drag him. But then in this moment, he's condoning and saying, well, what you gotta understand is Mariah was poked and pushed, my God. She could have been poked and pushed to continue dragging and shading, my God, Dr. Heavenly or Dr. Heavenly's mom. But to drag the husbands in it when that husband has been kind to you, my God, is wrong. And then it was funny because I don't know if y'all caught that Dr. Aiden had like a moment of knowing that he was dead ass wrong, because he said, I'm not gonna say anymore. You ain't said shit. All you said was that Mariah was pushed and poked, and then when Andy called your ass out, you was done with it because you knew it was stupid as hell, Dr. Aiden, to even justify dragging the husbands in it, my God, and causing more problems, especially when that husband has been upstanding and respectful to you and your wife, my God. Then Dr. Greg did share that it was awkward at first meeting up with the guys, but they made him feel warm and welcome, as well as last year, when everything came out about the allegations of him having cheated and being in the hotel room with a woman, he said he left there feeling like he wanted to save and salvage his marriage. I think in this episode of the reunion, Quad was asked, did she feel like she wanted to save her marriage? She said she felt like it was over. I think, I could be wrong, church, but you can correct me in the comment section, but I think Quad said she felt it was over at the reunion, my God. Last but not least, the question came up, or the topic about the fellas having to choose sides, and they were saying they didn't choose sides, and then Dr. Eugene was being all aggressive and saying, yes, y'all did. We chose sides. It was, should Quad be invited or should she not be invited? We chose sides, my God. And Cecil said, you know, I understand having to not necessarily choose sides, but decide who was going to be invited to the events. And the reality of it is, this is Married to Medicine, and most of the events cater to the wives. So I think Quad was the better choice, because what was Greg going to bring to the table at that particular point? The real beef was Quad against the ladies for her not sharing and opening up to them. So when you think about the TV show, it would have been better to have Quad there and not Dr. Greg anyway, my God. So the next segment is the conversation for the first time between Dr. Greg and Quad. It seems like it's going to be very intense, heated. There are some allegations of domestic violence going to come out. I think they had domestic violence in the past. I think she beat him up or something like that, my God. Could be wrong, but they're going to address and have their conversation for the first time in, I guess, several months, because they hadn't spoken since June. But I believe this reunion was filmed a month or two ago, my God. So we'll get to see that in a part 3. I'm not even sure why part 3 was needed. They could have tucked that whole Quad scene and Dr. Greg scene in the last 5 minutes of this part 2, but I guess we'll get it next week. So thank you guys for tuning in. Please follow me on all social media outlets. Please thumbs up this video. Comment down below in the comment section. Subscribe to my channel, turn on the notifications, and share this video. Bye, guys.